Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam La Cavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Bearded Browns podcast show. It's just me and Mike. How you doing, Mike? It's been just a little second, my friend.
Yeah.
It's been a little second. You got to work early today, I see. Took a vacation day? I mean, no one crashed today?
No, people still crash. You know how that goes.
Yeah, it's Cleveland. People crash all the time. We're here tonight. I'm here. No Chad. He has some important doctor boring stuff to do tonight. So it's me and Mike. We're going to take over the show. We got a special, very special guest, Barry Shuck. He's going to hop on a little later. But first, we're going to get into Browns news. The Browns news so far this week. First one's a big one, Mike. Dropped yesterday. David Njoku said his goodbye on Instagram. He said, Cleveland, first off, I love you. These 9 years have been a beautiful journey. I'm so grateful for all the memories we shared together. Thank you to the Haslams, Andrew Barry, and the whole Browns organization for everything. He did not mention Kevin. All of my teammates, I shared the battle with you. I am grateful for you guys. It's time for me to find a new home. The time for me to find a new home has come, and all I can think of is just the gratefulness in my heart. The city of Cleveland will forever be my home.
If I remember correctly, there was a video that got put out maybe 2 or 3 months ago when he said, man, I ain't going nowhere. Cleveland's my home. I'm staying in Cleveland, man.
That was right after the training deadline, yeah.
Yeah, and then a couple of months later, we're in this. And this one, I'm not going to lie, we all expected it, obviously. But this one hit home a little bit more because it's 9 years with a guy that had his ups and downs, injuries, drops, and all that. We get that. But this one hurt me a little bit more than it did Stefanski for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe I got a little sentimental. That's all.
Yeah, I think with David, he embraced Cleveland, embraced the fans. He was he's a fan favorite, obviously. For 9 years, he's probably, was he the third longest since 99? He was up there as far as longest tenured Browns player that I could remember. 9 years. My daughter is going to be 10 this year. So he was on the Browns as long as my daughter's been alive. So that tells you how much he's been a part of our Sundays. So not that, and what sucks for me for David is the fact that he didn't have a quarterback. He had a couple of good seasons, a Pro Bowl with Joe Flacco coming in 2023, the last 6-7 games. His numbers were outstanding, but didn't have a consistent quarterback to really showcase his talent, unfortunately for him. And that sucks.
We talked about it numerous times on a show where he had the highly contested passes that he would always catch.
Yeah.
And then the ones right in the numbers, right in his hands, he would drop.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. But David, we love you. Man, we're going to miss you. And hopefully we don't play you because it's going to be hard to root against you. You know, he came in young. He came in like at 20. Yeah, 21.
Hard to root against him. I'm not going to give him that much. Yeah. It's not. I'll still root for my Browns every day.
You drop a ball here and there, but
dropping whatever team you go to. I don't care.
Drop that ball, dog.
Now you're
on to the next bit of Browns news. Deshaun Watson's last 2 civil lawsuits, allegedly the sexual assault, has been dismissed. So the final 2 of 30 is no longer there. So we get to kind of, turn the page here, and thankfully, right? Because hopefully he's going to come into here and he's going to compete. According to Mary Kay Cabot, Todd Monken is very interested in watching him play. And that's interesting because it says in the report per Mary Kay Cabot that the team saw that he was the better quarterback on the field while they were practicing in December. So that is very telling. If he was a better quarter, not maybe they're just blowing smoke. Well, my question, Mike, is this: do you think part of the reason? Do you think that the topic of quarterback wasn't just about Shador Sanders and his development, but hey, Todd, can you help fix Deshaun Watson?
I mean, obviously, you pay the guy the money, so you're going to want to see him on the field. But I think the Cleveland fan base is already over it. And like I said
Yeah, they are.
before, unless he comes out here and wins 5 back-to-back games without injury, I think even if this guy throws a pick, it's over for him.
Oh
I
yeah,
think as soon as he comes out on the field, if they name him the starter, the boos are going to start immediately for the home opener.
I just feel like these reports are coming out are setting the fans up for it. I
I mean,
could
you
see,
got to pump it up, right?
yeah, I could. Sam mentioned it on the Saturday show. He said Deshaun Watson can start, and when I heard it, I believed him. I'm like, I agree with Sam. To sit there and say Deshaun Watson isn't going to start, considering he has made it this far and is still on the team, is silly to say. We have to put him in the option to start because he might be the better quarterback to start the season while Shador is developing still.
Yeah, I agree. I want the best man
Yeah.
win. Obviously, if Deshaun Watson's the better man, play him. But
What if it's one of those like reclamation projects where he just lights up the year?
that'd be wonderful. And then you can win the
Yeah.
fans back, right? At that
Yeah.
point,
I think that's the only
it's
way.
highly unlikely, man. It's just it
Yeah,
doesn't
those
seem
injuries. Yeah.
yeah.
Man, I just imagine what he could have been under the right coach without injuries. I think he probably would have been a little good here.
Nick, hands down.
KP Young on Facebook says, which loss was worse? Yeah, Nick Chubb and Chubb. Chubb changed the whole trajectory of that season because they were going to ride him until Watson started getting his legs up from underneath him, and the way Chubb got hurt too. That was devastating against your arch rivals and the way they did it. Just trauma, trauma. But yeah, that was an easy question. We love easy questions. Thanks, KP, for that. Everyone listening, please tune in. Thanks for tuning in. Share the feed, comment below. Let us know where you're listening from or watching from. Last bit of news: the Browns just recently, I think it dropped about 30 minutes ago. The Browns hire Brian Stoyer as the new special teams coordinator in Cleveland. He was the assistant special teams coach for the Green Bay Packers from 2022 to 2025. So he's rounding off his Monken's rounding off his staff here. He's just waiting on one big decision at DC.
I'm glad to hear that knows because that knows. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because I'm so sick of hearing the name Bubba Ventrone. So that we don't have to say that anymore. Jen, no, we're not bringing the Ayuk stuff back.
No, Ayuk got to go. He didn't want to play for San Francisco and they were winning. Can you imagine coming here and losing? Do you think he's gonna want to play? Nah,
Yeah, not happening.
I didn't even want to trade for him, even when the rumors were coming out that Barry liked him. I was like, nah, I want to stay away from Brandon. He's talented, but he seemed like he's a little head case. Yeah, that's it. That's all your Browns news for the week. I heard a lot of rumblings that the DC coordinator position is going to be announced by this weekend. And it kind of matched. What's up, Steve? How you doing, sir? I'm glad we kept. Yes, Deuce. I can't believe I didn't put that in notes. Deuce Staley is staying as running back coach, which is pretty. I thought he did pretty good considering. I mean, you have rookies, all three of them, right? Yeah, Rocket Sanders that people forgot about. I thought he fell in well when Q got hurt. Samson played well considering they didn't use him properly for some reason.
You didn't have line.
Yeah, you didn't have an offensive line. I mean, all that sucked. And despite all that, because even Q, there was a point where Q was still getting 2 yards after contact, and he was getting contact behind the line of scrimmage. So hopefully, obviously, they're gonna have to fix that issue. But yeah, Q's so that is Deuce Staley stays, which is a good consistent for that running back room, which we don't expect too much change. I hope they keep Rocket Sanders. I thought he did pretty good.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we'll see more for sure.
Yeah. See, someone just said in the chat too. Raheem Morris came out of nowhere. Yeah, man, I thought he was pretty good. Let's announce right now our special guest. I hate calling him a guest because he's like family here on the Bearded Browns podcast. Our guest tonight is our personal favorite. He writes for Dawgs By Nature. He went to the Senior Bowl, and he's here to talk about it tonight. Hopefully, he can give us some sleepers for our fantasy picks, or maybe some guys to keep an eye on as Browns fans in the later rounds or even earlier rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our guy, Barry Shuck, our favorite sports writer.
Hey, thanks for having me. The NFC Championship game to me was the real Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I think the big game was a yawner. I think the New England offensive attack was just like how head coach Mike Grable likes his coffee. Grounded and weak.
Hey, don't say that to Browns fans. They wanted Vrabel as their head coach. He was in the building. They expected him to stay.
He moved on. We could have had Chuck Nolan, didn't hire him. We fired Bill Belichick. Just remember that.
Yeah.
You know what the greatest thing of that Super Bowl was? I like Mike Vrabel, but to see Dave Portnoy, that Michigan scumbag, sit there crying for the Patriots not winning it, made my day even better.
Yeah.
Looks like
defenses win championships.
Unless you're the Cleveland Browns.
And your offense isn't good enough to help your defense, unfortunately. So, Barry, the first question I have for you is what every Browns fan's waiting for is, did you find the Browns' next quarterback at the Senior Bowl?
I did not, even though I talked to three. I talked to Garrett Nussmeier of LSU, Cole Payton from North Dakota State, and I actually did an interview with Diego Pavia. The first thing that the Senior Bowl does on Sunday is they strip everybody down to their boxers. They bring them on stage one by one, and they measure almost everything. And I do mean almost. Hand size, thighs, you name it. And in the media guide at Vanderbilt, they had Pavia at 6'1", 207 pounds. Well, he was 5'9" and 7/8 and 198 pounds. Yikes. And standing next to him, I'm 5'11". You know, I had a couple of inches on him, it seems like, and but he's a very pesky guy on the field. He's very accurate. Nussmeier was the MVP of the game, but he was only 6'1", 207 maybe. And Cole Payton was a small, skinny guy, 6'1", 205. So it just amazed me how none of these quarterbacks were big guys. Now, the one from Arkansas, Taylon Green, 6'6", 235 maybe, huge guy, but he could not hit anything, very inaccurate. But the reason I didn't focus on quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl is because I don't think the Browns are going to draft one.
I agree.
You got Deshaun in camp next year. You got Dylan Gabriel, and you got Shedeur Sanders. Number one, if you draft a guy, he's not going to help this team in 2026 at all. And then if you put him as a developmental quarterback, well, you got two developmental quarterbacks already. Why do we have? And then they're only going to keep three. So you're going to cut one of those. You drafted three of them and you traded for another. I think our quarterback room's set already. I think you can use that pick in the third round instead of, grabbing for one of these guys and taking a player that you can use this year.
Yeah.
The only reason I really realistically see them grabbing a quarterback is if they get rid of their mini supercomputer and probably picking up somebody else. Angel almost spit his soda out.
I forgot they called him the supercomputer. That was my bad.
Yeah. Well, Mike, they're going to get rid of you first before they get rid of their supercomputer.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
So I like Nutsmeyer a lot, but he is small. He was 200 and some change and 6'2".
207.
Yeah. I thought I'm worried about him being small and getting injured. Obviously, he had a oblique in LSU. I thought he did really well considering the circumstances around LSU and Brian Kelly's drama that was darkness that was brought there. I saw a lot of mocks, actually, the Browns getting him around the second or third, too. And I'm kind of with you, Bear. I'm like, I don't see the Browns drafting another guy, considering they're probably going to see what they can do with Sanders. And if he fails, they're probably going to go all in next year, which might be a wider option at quarterback.
I think they're going to go in with Deshaun.
Yeah.
I think they're going to let it go between the three, and whichever one comes out on top. Those are going to be your three guys, and all of them are going to have a chance at being the starting quarterback. You don't have a reason to bring in a fourth guy. And it's not like you've got a sure thing number one pick, coming in this draft. Anybody that you pick is going to be third, fourth, fifth round. Well, we've already got third, fourth, fifth round guys on the roster.
Yeah. I agree. Do you think they normally do carry since Barry? Now maybe that's a Kevin thing. We'll find out. But they've carried 4 in camp. So do you think they can bring somebody in just as like a undrafted free agent, just to see what they can do, just an extra camp arm?
Yeah, they always bring in a fourth guy, and sometimes it's going to be somebody like Mullen who's been with the team before. They'll bring in an undrafted free agent rookie. Or they might even do a reclamation on somebody like Josh Dobbs or something, but Tyler Huntley, bring somebody in as a fourth guy. But eventually it depends on the team, but Kevin always kept 3. I've seen rosters in the past where they only kept 2, but in today's NFL, there's no reason not to have 3 quarterbacks. You think about the Browns. We have started 12 different guys at quarterback the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We went through 5 and 1. So there's a bit of a worry there obviously for the coaching staff, I would imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I imagine they'll keep 3 guys, and especially the way attrition is in this league, quarterbacks get hurt all the time.
I mean, you watch it happen as well with Deshaun, man. You were healing, and then you went to Paris or France or whatever, underpants. I don't remember where he was at. Then he did it again. It's just like you ruptured it again, and it's stupid things like that, man. When you're getting paid this many amounts of millions of dollars, it's time to just sit down, relax, and heal, dude, because I have 230 million reasons to punch you in the face right now.
Yeah, well, Achilles injuries are non-contact, and they come out of nowhere, and they're very, very serious. Look at Aaron Rodgers in his very first game with the Jets, and the Jets were all Jet fans were just hysterical that they had Aaron Rodgers, and he got hurt in the first game, and that was it.
Yeah,
you could hear
wearing that flag out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then it was like the third or fourth play, and that was all the air in that stadium just completely went out, and I think everybody left at halftime.
Yeah, they probably left as soon as it happened. Like, we're done. Yeah. Season tickets, we're screwed. We're done.
Yeah. Give me a refund.
As far as back onto the Senior Bowl, who are the 2 to 3 players that really stood out to you this year, and what specifically caught your attention?
Well, today is buy one get one free day, so you asked for 3 players. I'm going to give you 5.
Take it.
Yes. And 4 of them are defensive.
5.
Yeah, 5. Okay, that's not exactly buy one get one, but maybe it's just a bonus pick. How about that? 4 of them are defensive players, and you may say, "Well, we don't need defensive guys; we need offensive guys." I got that, but let me tell you, if you've got a strong defense, it's nothing to pick up more. You just got to keep adding to that and replacing guys, or put guys on a roster that are going to develop for a year. And then the second year that they're in the league, then they're ready to start. And that's how all the good defensive guys happen all the good defensive teams. They just keep resupplying on the defense. The first guy I'm going to give you is edge TJ Parker of Clemson. Then defensive tackle Caleb Banks from Florida. Cornerback Will Johnson of San Diego State. Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. And then Iowa offensive guard Jennings Dunker. Let's go with Dunker first. We all know that this year that the Browns offensive line could actually be 5 new guys. Is Wyatt Teller going to come back? Posick is a free agent. Conklin is a free agent. We got DeJuan Jones. He's been with us 3 years, been on IR 3 years. So we can't depend on him. I think Joel Bitonio is going to retire. I think he hasn't decided yet or announced it yet. Jennings Dunker, Iowa, Wisconsin, Penn State. Those are offensive line schools right there. They put out a ton of good offensive linemen. Dunker was an offensive tackle, but I think he's going to transition to guard. 6'5", 320. This guy looks like a lumberjack. His hair was long and red and scruffy and partial beard. He's got violent movement at the point of attack. He's got exceptional leg drive. His legs almost look like they're sawed off. They're just tree trunks at the bottom. He locks in place with defenders. He's got very good grip strength and the ability to steer his blocks out of harm's way, even with the bigger defensive tackles. I think his anchor is really sturdy, and he doesn't get bull rush. At the Senior Bowl, they do 1-on-1s, 7-on-7s, and 11 full. And on the 1-on-1s, they'll do offensive linemen against defensive linemen. Nobody got past him. And also, you got to understand what the Senior Bowl is they don't just invite all-star college guys. They start with the top guy and invite all of them until they fill up a roster. The other college games don't do that. The Senior Bowl is also the entire coaching staff is NFL coaches. So it's not like you're getting the University of Minnesota assistant coach, OC, as your head coach in the All-Star game. All of these are pro guys. It is an NFL convention. I have met every head coach. I have met every scout. I've met every GM at the Senior Bowl. When a head coach is hired, he goes to the Senior Bowl and he does all his interviews because everybody's there. If Mike is our head coach and he gets fired, well, we all get fired. Now, we may get hired on with the new team, just like Duke Staley did, but the majority of us are looking for work. Well, you show up at the Senior Bowl in a Nike tracksuit and you leave in a Miami Dolphins tracksuit. So that's what the Senior Bowl is about, because they're able to interview people between practices and at night to be their assistant coaches. But back to Jennings, he was a 4-year starter. He had 38 career starts. He was part of. Do y'all know what the Joe Moore Award is?
No, is that lineman?
Yeah, it's awarded annually to the best offensive line group. All 5 plus a tight end as a 6 offensive lineman. They call them skinny offensive lineman, skinny tackle. They take the best offensive line and they award the Joe Moore Award. Iowa got it. They were a finalist the year before. So Dunker was part of that. He brings all kind of experience and leadership, and I think that's going to translate immediately to an NFL locker room.
That's what we need. I understand completely where you're coming from when you say that, pick up some defensive pieces that you could add for later on. But I think that offensive linemen are the number one priority right now going into this year, because you're not going to be able to see who your quarterback could eventually be, or what your quarterback is, in my opinion.
Yep.
So you need those guys to block, obviously, for him, and then wide receiver is another guy that can catch the ball. I'm sure we're all sick of talking about this. Angel's just like,
No,
yeah.
I was actually looking at Joe Bitonio's contract. He needs to make a decision here in a couple of weeks. That's why because his bonus kicks in. So he gets his bonus, some type of money kicks in if he decides to stay or not.
It's like the 16th or the 18th or something like that.
Yeah, I was just confirming today because you talk about Joe Bitonio. I'm thinking like he has a couple of weeks to decide whether he's going to come back or not. I heard a lot about Dunker coming on a couple of people that I follow their sports apps. They're big on him. What round do you estimate him going? Would you know?
Well, he came into the Senior Bowl in the 3rd round. That was his projection.
Probably
and here's what the Senior Bowl will do for you. Now, the top projected 15 in the draft never show up for the Super Bowl. Although I did get to interview Justin Herbert a few years ago. Von Miller went 2nd overall. So once in a while, you'll get a guy that's in the top 15. Last year, I interviewed Dylan Gabriel, 3rd round. Harold Fannin, 3rd round. But I'm going to say now he's probably a very good 2nd round pick. He just absolutely blew everybody away. And the Senior Bowl, the defensive line was phenomenal this year. So for him to be an offensive guard, and they moved him from tackle to guard quite a bit and then back and forth. Even as a guard position, he was still holding his own. I'm going to say he's going to go in the 2nd round.
Yeah, to your point about drafting defense, a lot of people, if you look at the defense as the draft as a whole, it is a big defensive draft. A lot of good defensive players are coming out. So for you to sit there and say the Browns should draft, they can draft depth, specifically in safety too. Grant Delpit's contract is coming up here next year. I mean, this is his contract year, so they have to think about that in the back of their heads if they're not trying to work that out either. Also, too, if teams are getting defense, most likely the offensive receivers you want or offensive linemen, maybe they'll push them down to you. So either way, it's going to be a good chess game for Andrew Barry. My next question for you is were there any players who significantly helped or hurt their draft stock when you went there?
I'd say one that really stands out was wide receiver Malachi Fields from Ohio State. From Notre Dame. Yep. He came into the Senior Bowl probably a 4th round pick. He is definitely now a solid 3. He's 6'4", 218. He runs a 4.5 in the 40. Long arms, big torso. He knows how to use it. He's got, I would say, overwhelming size to speed combination. 220 pounds, 6'4", that's a big body guy. He's got natural hands, and he can pluck the ball, and he had excellent high point jump. Part of when the ball is not at its high point, as it's descending, you've got to know when to jump so that you're not going up, you're not coming down and miss the ball every time. He's a former high school basketball player, so he already knows how to box out. He already knows how to jump for rebounds, and he knows how to go to the high point. He showed some advanced understanding of leverage when they were doing zone coverage, and he did find some soft spots and presented a pretty massive target with I would say excellent spatial awareness. Downright nasty when he goes up for contested catches. I think he's going to be a good 3rd round pick, and of course the Browns need receivers.
Yes, me and Mike were talking about that, and they need tall guys. I was talking to Mike a little bit about Monken's obsession with smaller receivers, 6 foot, under 200 pounds. He had one in Georgia, and Flowers isn't that big. He operates well with Flowers pretty well. So my worry is like he's going to target a nice gadget guy in the draft. When me and Mike the podcast in general, we're big on we need like a 6'4", 220 guy to just run down the field and smoke people, like an alpha number 1.
Yeah, I found one. So just place your order and it'll arrive by Amazon.
Yeah, hopefully he might even get his stock might even go up after the combine. This guy might jump up to the first round. Who knows? Because
It
receivers are
happens
going to be
all the time.
needed. Yeah,
Happens
receivers are
all the
going to
time.
be needed. Did anyone surprise you positively or negatively during this Senior Bowl?
Yeah, I would say a tight end that I looked at. He probably was a day 3 guy, maybe 7th round. Tanner Kazial from the University of Houston, 6'6", 240 pounds. He's not the fastest guy. He runs a 4.76. He's not going to beat anybody to a race unless you're competing to see who be first in the buffet line. But he's an excellent blocker. I didn't have him on my list of guys to talk to or interview, but I just kept seeing strengths from him, and he just kept going up. Long arms. He's a former basketball player too. He's got that exceptional frame, 6'7". So what that does is that creates immediate red zone mismatches. And I would say it probably provides a really good catch radius.
And he'd be a good complement to Fannin, who's more of a pass catcher. I mean, his blocking is good, but if you can, I think the Browns are going to target someone who's a better blocker as opposed to somebody who, like another Fannin, who's going to be a catch first type of tight end. And I've been reading a lot about him specifically too. He was a riser on many of the articles I was reading because of his size and his ability to block. I think they call him the X tight end.
Let me tell you what happens here at the Senior Bowl. Okay, when Joe Flacco was in his senior year at college, I think he was at Connecticut or Delaware or something like that. He was projected to be a late 2nd rounder. I was writing for a New York Giants publication at the time, and they were looking to draft a quarterback. So I interviewed all the quarterbacks, including Flacco. He had a phenomenal week. Nobody knew who he was. He was 6'6", number one, and he was like 230 pounds. So he was a huge guy. He was MVP of the Senior Bowl all week. He just showed out, pinpoint passing. He went from late 2nd to being drafted in the early 20s in the 1st round by the Baltimore Ravens. So he went from late 2nd money to 1st round money. Last year in the Senior Bowl, Jackson Dart was projected to be a 4th round pick when he showed up at the Senior Bowl. After the Senior Bowl, after the combine, the Giants traded up. Now, he blew everybody out of the water at the Senior Bowl. Completely accurate, throw through a tight window. Combine, he looked good. He went from a 4th round pick. The Giants traded up in the 1st round and drafted him just because he showed good things at both these events. That's what the Senior Bowl does to players.
And do you think that's what kind of hurt Shedeur not going to the Senior Bowl and kind of highlighting some strengths of his to – because he was obviously here, he was projected to go 1 and then late. What, Mike, he was like round 2 later as the draft got closer. People were saying 2 and then drafted 5th round. So you're obviously it's a guessing game. You'll never know, but
I'm going to assume that what made Shedeur do what happened to him was his interview process. I think he came off as a buffoon. I think he came off as somebody that didn't know what he was doing. I think he came off as somebody that didn't know what the answers to. At the Senior Bowl, they have a convention center and they have different ballrooms, okay, for dances and stuff. Well, on one complete floor, they've got these curtains and they're all up, and you go down these aisles, and in this little curtained off place is the Detroit Lions. Next to it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next to it is the Carolina Panthers. And over here is another team and another team and another team. And on the other side, there's 6 more teams. And they do that continuously. So what happens is these players stay at the hotel. They got this big crosswalk that goes over the highway. It goes to the convention center. And they call these guys in. So you got the GM, you got the player personnel guy, you got the head scout, you got the head coach, you got the position coaches. They're all sitting in these little cubicles that are all curtained off. And this guy walks in, this player walks in, and they ask him all kind of stuff. I don't care who it is, what position you are, they interview. And what this does is it gets these GMs and these coaches and these scouts one-on-one with this guy. Then they get to know what he's about, what his mannerisms are, if he's respectful, if he's paying attention. And then they'll ask him, what is your daily, go through your daily routine or an average football day at Ohio State. And the guy, it'll be a linebacker, and the guy will just say, well, I do this and I do this. Tell me about your weightlifting routine. And it tells, and he spits out all this. What's your diet like? What's your nutrition about? That's what happens in these interview rooms. And at the Senior Bowl, what happens is you've got breakfast, meetings, practice with one team. Then 30 minutes later, that team goes to the bus and goes back to the hotel. The other team shows up. They do dinner and more meetings. So these players go into these meeting cubicles and talk to all these people, and they're writing this. They film it. They make notes. They put a recording on. I think when Shedeur went with the New York Giants and couldn't answer any of their questions, so on 4th and 2, what is your best play? And Shedeur flubbed all that. He had nothing. He came in with his hat sideways. And, people, you may say, well, that's hip hop. That shouldn't mean anything. Well, these guys are fixing to spend, all these millions on him. Is a difference between the 32nd pick and the 33rd pick as far as money goes. The first pick in the second round gets a lot less money than the last pick in the first round. I think Shedeur just wants, and all these guys, if Mike is the head coach and you're the offensive coordinator, I'm the linebacker coach, and we get fired, and then you go somewhere and Mike goes somewhere and I go somewhere, we all know each other. We're all still friends. We've worked together for years and years. And so when we get together and you come to me and say, what happened with Shedeur in the meeting, I'm going to tell you. See, if it's helpful to you, as long as we don't give away any strategy, which, you think about, Mike LaFleur is now head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. His brother is head coach of the Green Bay Packers, are both in the same conference. They may tell each other stuff, but they're not going to give away strategy and not give away secrets. You just don't do that. But I think that's what happened to Shedeur, is that he just looked like an idiot. And I don't think anybody thought that he could do anything other than his dad was his coach and he was going to be quarterback no matter what he did.
Yeah, and he seems to have some talent. He just they need to tap into it and invest in it, and maybe give him what Mike's favorite position in football, offensive line, and see what he can do with it. One more question. Go ahead. Sorry.
Wait. I think the first thing I would do with Shedeur is teach him not to hold the ball forever.
That is one issue he had. Was it 3.03 seconds was his average last year. I agree. That's something he definitely needs to work on. One question before we get that famous Barry idiom. How much weight do you put on the Senior Bowl's performers versus college film when people evaluate? Because I feel that's where we're going at as a podcast. I like to watch tape and evaluate players as opposed to like what you see at the Senior Bowl, which is it more player friendly, more open? Is it like competition? Is it like more pause, didn't do this, or structure?
Yeah, it's a lot of standing around, but it's a structure. Everything is timed out. So you're doing these drills, and they section them off by positions. So the defensive line is over here. The linebackers are usually with the defensive backs. Then they'll do one-on-one drills where they'll do a DB with the receivers. They'll do linebackers with tight ends, and they throw passes. And of course, there's no rush, there's no blocking. It's just the quarterback, and the quarterback doesn't, wave him on and go. It's a set route, and they throw the ball, whether he's open or not. And so what you're looking at is not necessarily the accuracy of the quarterback, although that can come into play. Like the Arkansas quarterback, he was horrible as far as his accuracy. Now he can run like a gazelle, he can take off. I think he'd make a great receiver at the next level. Not to offend him, like they wanted Lamar Jackson to be a running back. He'd be a great receiver, 6'6" basketball player. But that's what they do in the one-on-ones, and they're trying to see and you're talking about a DB that's going to be taken number 28 in the first round against a receiver that's going to be probably the third receiver in the draft. Half the first round, half the second round played in the Senior Bowl. That happens all the time. Shamar Stewart, who was that holdout with the Cincinnati Bengals last year, played in the Senior Bowl. All of these guys, the left guard, the rookie Gray Zabel for the Seattle Seahawks, wore number 76. I interviewed him last year because he's an offensive tackle, played in the Senior Bowl, first round pick. So that is what they do, is they get all these talented players. So in college, if you play for Virginia Tech, you're not playing Alabama, you're not playing LSU, you're not playing Notre Dame, you're playing Virginia Commonwealth, and you're playing Duke, and you're playing, yes, you're playing Clemson, but then you're playing Wake Forest. Well, when you go to the Senior Bowl, you take all the best cornerbacks and safeties and put them there, as many of the best you can, and all the best receivers, and even guys you've never heard of, like Ted Hurst from Georgia State.
I hear he's
blew up the Senior Bowl. Blew up the Senior Bowl. Ty Montgomery from James Madison blew up the Senior Bowl. Who was this guy? But once upon a time, Jerry Rice showed up for this game. Nobody knew what Mississippi Valley State was. So that happens. They uncover people. So that's what the Senior Bowl is about. But I think what you look at when you're watching practices and you're making note is kind of consistency in the play of the guys that you're interested in. My list was not everybody. I didn't interview any running backs. I only got in some conversation with some quarterbacks because they were there. I looked at tight ends because we're going to need a tight end. I looked at safeties because I think we might need a safety. I met and talked to as many guards, as many tackles, and as many centers as I could. Jake Slaughter from Florida, Austin Barber, the offensive tackle from Florida as well. But you look for consistency in their play. In the one-on-ones, no player is going to win every matchup, but can they win the most when you go one-on-one? Does a receiver fool his defensive back counterpart at some point on his route? How does a safety take on a much taller and thicker tight end in drills? I mean, which quarterbacks are accurate for the most part and at least try to go through the progressions versus which ones look at one receiver and then when the pocket starts to pinch, they take off. How does a running back wait for his hole to develop instead of forcing going through a gap, regardless of what the defense is doing on that particular play? And then you just kind of make notes on all that and then just kind of come up with consensus of who is playing well and who isn't. Because you'll see a lot of receivers that'll drop balls, a lot of defensive backs, the ball's thrown right to them, they drop balls, and that happened. The linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, love this guy. He was a 4th-round pick. I think he's a 3rd-round pick now. I'm telling you, if they took him in the 3rd round, pair him with Schlesinger, you're going to see fireworks every game. Rodriguez had 128 tackles this year, had 127 tackles last year. He led the nation in forced fumbles. He has this punch that he doesn't come up from underneath. He comes from the top and he just kind of torpedoes it and he times it. I saw him do 3 punches, 3 forced fumbles in 3 different practices of the Senior Bowl. I would love for us to latch on to him.
Nice. Well, Barry, we'll let you go. Before you tell us your idiom, let people know where they can find you, sir.
DawgsByNature.com. That's all we do is cover the Browns. We've got 7 writers that are really good. It's almost like a daily newspaper where what you read this morning is going to be down here later and you're not going to see it except unless you scroll down tomorrow. So we are always updating and we're coming up with ideas. Like, for instance, who are they going to hire is the DC. I wrote an article about what they should do is not bring in a guy that's not used to Jim Schwartz's system. Monken said he's going to use Jim Schwartz's system. Well, use a protege, use a student of it. I think they ought to take Efren Banda, the safety coach, and just elevate him to DC. He's been in this defense. He knows what it's about. But it's dogsbynature.com. Let me give you an idiom.
Yes, sir.
I am going to give you where the term ground and pound came from. We all know this is a term.
Family show, though. Family show.
Okay. Here, let me take a highlighter here. And whoops, I think I got a paper cut now. All right. So this is a term to describe how a team just runs the ball on most downs with great success. However, its origins offer the exact opposite meaning. In 1989, the San Francisco 49er cornerback Tim McKyer was being interviewed by the San Francisco Chronicle after a game when McKyer thought that the Chicago Bears' run-first offensive scheme was horrible and one-dimensional. He told the sports reporter, "They don't have a complicated offense. The Bears just try to ground and pound."
And it's stuck.
And that's how it's stuck. Yep.
And that's stuck. So that's why we name it that way every time.
That's awesome. I like every idiom you always have on here is awesome. And Barry, we definitely appreciate having you on again as always. And I'll definitely talk to you soon. Got a lot to talk about.
Maybe closer to the draft, we'll have you back on.
Yeah, understandable. I had a good time. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you, man.
Take care. Wow.
That was Barry Shuck, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard him here before. You've seen him here before. Great guy. Full of he knows everything.
Yeah, I love the aspect of like the Senior Bowl, like what he does when he goes there. I would love to do that. Go there and just talk to certain players and write an article about it later and just see what players do well, perform well. That's really cool to get kind of behind the scenes view of it from him. That's really dope.
Yeah, all the stuff we got. See.
I guess we need a defensive coordinator, so that's next, right? We're going to talk about that here. There's a couple of candidates that they've interviewed or going to interview. We're going to talk about that right now. First candidate up, they already interviewed, is Jason Tarver, a 2020 holdover from Kevin Stefanski era, who has been credited with the development of what we know as our linebacker group. And we've had a pretty good run of linebackers there. You got JOK, you got Schlesinger, obviously. Even the development of Bush is not being talked about. He was a bust getting drafted. I think pick 26 with Pittsburgh was a bust. Went to Seattle, played okay, came here, and Tarver got a hold of him. And now he's probably going to get paid for playing 2 good years here.
Yeah. He was also with the 49ers as a running back coach, and Stanford as a co-defensive coordinator, Oakland Raiders, San Francisco 49ers, Vanderbilt, all defensive roles, even with the Browns, which is, I would like to keep this in-house as much as possible. That's going to be the way to go. Like Barry said, you bring in a guy that knows the system. You try to elevate from within, which I think is going to be one of the biggest things we're going to do. And there's another guy, obviously, that's on the pole.
Yeah, this is my guy, man. I like Efren Banda a lot. I like him from the perspective that Jim Schwartz handpicked him in 2023 to come along with him. He's the DB's coach, the back end of the defense coach. He's also the defensive passing game coordinator. What that does entirety is he communicates to the defense where to go pass game. So he's talking to linebackers, he's talking to the corners and the safeties already. So they already have that voice. They're familiar with his talk, his cadences, how he likes certain things. There's some familiarity there. And I would love it for them to promote him because I think he is the closest thing to Jim Schwartz that we currently have on the roster as far as DC is concerned. He's also had 2 interviews already for DC. So I think if you don't promote him, either he'll probably, I don't know if he'll stay, he'll probably stay, but he'll definitely get a defensive coordinator job within a year or 2 because I think he's highly coveted.
Yeah, it's possible. He was at Miami as a safeties coach. Then he accepted a head coaching position at Temple, and then was promoted to defensive coordinator, and then went to Utah State in 21, and then been with the Browns ever since. Which is, you got to. This is my guy as well. The guy closest to Jim, like you said, but we also all have agreed that we think that this defense is set up to do it pretty much without a coach, man. Like, to be honest, this defense is obviously top 3 defense. So,
yeah. Then there's some external candidates that I thought it was weird that they didn't even, maybe they did, they just didn't announce it. Shazier, the defensive tackle coach. I thought maybe he would get a look, but maybe they felt he's not ready yet. But the external candidates, the first one's Aubrey Pleasant, the Rams' assistant head coach and defensive pass game coordinator. Would it be weird? It's basically, wouldn't that be a demotion if you're assistant head coach and you come here just to be the defensive coordinator?
but for a top 3 defense, you'll have more of a role on a team than just a
Yeah, probably
assistant
have more of a say. Yeah,
coach.
you're right.
What does the assistant's head coach do? Get him coffee?
I mean, he's learning from Sean McVay, so that's the interesting part for me is like Sean McVay's turning up coaches left and right. Like, if he's going to probably be a head coach, that's another thing. If you bring him in as a defensive coordinator, he's going to be a head coach somewhere in another year or 2. So you're going to be filling that role anyways.
And I do like this guy. Don't get me wrong, I really do. Besides the fact that he's a Michigan guy, other than that, I mean, he was with the Browns, 2013. He was a offensive staff and head coaching intern during training camp. So that's pretty much when you could say your season lifted off in the NFL. That's when it started. Then he went to Washington, Los Angeles Rams, Detroit Lions, Packers, and then the Rams again. And now could he be a Brown again?
You said Lions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened with him and the Lions? They went 2-6, and they had to fire somebody.
1-6.
1-6, and they fired him because they said the pass game sucked. So he ended up going to Green Bay, work with LaFleur, and then switch over to McVay. And McVay loves him. McVay has him head coach during, I think, a preseason game or 2 every year since he's been there. So they're pretty high in him there, and I think he'll be a head coach eventually. Another guy I really don't know too much of, Charlie Bullen, outside linebackers coach for the Giants. He actually, I guess he did pretty well. He developed a couple outside linebackers out there. The rookie they just got, what's that guy's name?
The linebacker, you said?
Yeah, outside linebacker. I can't think of his name. So he's I don't know. I guess he did pretty well there. So they interview him. Jonathan Cooley. You have anything else on Charlie? Because I didn't get too much on him.
New York Giant. Well, John Harbaugh actually retained him. So that's probably an unlikely one. I don't see you leaving the Giants with John Harbaugh to come here after John Harbaugh wants to keep you. I mean, you got some promise there, right? I mean,
yeah. If John wants you, you stay. Don't come to Cleveland. We'll mess up your career.
Typically. So we're going to see what happens with that. Like I said, that's a highly unlikely one, but we're the Browns.
Yeah. Jonathan Cooley, the defensive. Here. I want to see if you catch on here, Mike. Anthony Pleasant, pass game coordinator. Jonathan Cooley, pass game coordinator for the Panthers. He's highly coveted too. A lot of people saying he's smart. A lot of players personally say that they love the way he communicates. He makes difficult things simple. Great communicator. Everything that the Browns want in the defense in a coach in general, he has. And he also, if you Google his name, he has style. He's dressed to the nine. He
'cause
has
we know
nice
that's all
outfits
about
on every week.
walk down that tunnel.
Yeah, you know,
He's got a Super
he's
Bowl
got
as well.
fits, man. His Instagram has like what he wears every week. So that dude's next level. It's not like me and you where we're wearing hoodies and t-shirts. This guy's like
Speaking
t-shirt.
of that,
Yeah, that is a sweet shirt. What is that? The land?
216. I saw it on. You know what? It's funny. I have another one I'm gonna wear for the Saturday show, but I saw it. It was a Facebook thing,
Mm,
and
that
I
is
was like
sweet.
skeptical about buying it. But the other one I think is cool. You'll see it Saturday. I told Amanda to
Tune
pick a
in.
shirt for tonight, and I let it happen. So my
Tune in
fashion designer.
Saturday. See what shirt he's talking about. 10 a.m. guys. Browns morning brew. But Jonathan Cooley, you got anything else on him?
He won a Super Bowl in 2021 with the Rams. So
Yes.
I mean, that was a 12-5 year playoff record, 4-0. And then he went to 2020. He was a defensive quality control coach for the Rams. And that was the year they went 10-6. And when he became the assistant secondary coach, 12-5. His last year with the Rams was not good, 5-12, obviously, but then Carolina, and that's a dramatic change. Obviously, you watched that, but 2-15 to 5-12 to 8-9. It sounds just like the Browns.
Yeah, that's a roller coaster of emotions that we experience every week. Last guy here, Mike Rutenberg. Falcons, again, defensive pass game coordinator. They requested an interview. Don't know much about him other than he's still on. I think he's still there. I think Kevin wants to keep him, but obviously, if he gets promoted, he cannot keep him. You got anything else on Mike?
He's been
Mike?
another guy that's been back and forth from Jacksonville Jaguars. He started his career with the Washington Redskins in 2003, and was with them from 2003 to 05. Then went to UCLA for 4 years, or 2 years, I'm sorry, as a graduate assistant. New Mexico State, Jacksonville. Then San Francisco 49ers in 2020. Then the New York Jets. That's another promising team there, 21-24. And then
He's had
Atlanta
experience
Falcons.
with horrible teams.
Yeah. Do you think, honestly, that Kevin Stefanski is going to let us steal from him?
Yeah, Kevin's gonna be like, block. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're getting a promotion and a pay raise. You ain't going nowhere, dog.
Especially not the Browns.
Especially not the Browns. They hurt my heart. I want you. The reason why I pointed out the pass game coordinator they seem to be looking at a lot is because I think one thing they're also looking when they're looking into these coordinators is something that Jim Schwartz struggled with, and that was zone defense. Zone defense hurt them a lot. So I'm thinking they're picking the brains out of these passing game coordinators of how well to execute how to better execute their zone defense in a Jim Schwartz scheme. A lot of explosive plays came out of the zone defense for your Cleveland Browns, and I think I don't want to sit there and say I don't think these interviews are for hires. I think they're more for information. They're going to say, "Hey, when you run zone, like how did you do this? How do you do that?" And I think they're going to pick their brains to improve their defense because that's what they struggle with. They struggle with some explosive plays, not as much last year. And credit to Gary. And listen, if you're not listening to our Saturday show, you're losing out. The Saturday show, they drop in knowledge. Gary pointed out to last week on Saturday, the defense really wasn't tested this year because they didn't need to be because the offense sucks so bad. So I like to go back to 2024 when I talk about explosive plays because they were kind of tested. And if you see the explosive play rate in 2024, you would be alarmed. And I think that to their credit, Todd Monken, who basically coached against us 6 times, knows the weaknesses in which this defense had with Jim Schwartz, and it was explosive plays. Lamar got a lot on them. Why? Because when they're in the zone defense, they seem to struggle there as opposed to press man. That's just my take on that.
That's a very valid point, but you just remember Todd Monken didn't come here to chip block.
Yeah.
He came here to chip block Myles Garrett, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So that's something I thought was interesting. and hopefully they learn to improve. I think they're looking to improve the system in which some weaknesses were, and we'll see if they do that. But yeah, those are your defense. A lot of talk about it should be coming out by this weekend. I think Todd Monken wants to get his staff together because they have to start getting ready for draft, for the combine, for to get their crap together here. I mean, they're behind the 8 ball. They suck right now. Like I often thought, like, what if one of these other guys get it? Like, what's going to happen with Banda and Tarver? Like, it's too late for them to jump ship and get another job unless they go to like the Raiders or the Cardinals, who are going to need position coaches like that.
Yeah, anything's possible. I guess I have a question for you. Is do you think, obviously with Kevin Stefanski, I always said we were kind of predictable the last 2 years with knowing what was going to happen. It seemed that way to me, anyways. But
Yeah.
do you think since we took half of Baltimore Ravens offensive coaching staff,
Literally half of it. Yeah.
like, they're just gonna be like, hey man, let's just go back and watch their tape, or did John Harbaugh have that much of an impact on the offensive side of the
What
ball?
I've been watching with Todd Monken's, with the tools that we have a resource for here at Builder Browns, what I've watched is what separates Kevin from Todd is Todd will give you the same look, but he'll actually grow out of that look. He's not going to give you the same look and run the same play like Kevin did. So he'll run with like 3 bunches, which is 2 tight ends and a receiver. And you'll see that same look, same formation, but the receiver might cut out instead of cut in, or it might be a handoff, or it might be he'll twist it up. And I think that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, that's what makes Todd so different, a lot different than Kevin as far as play calling. His scheme, even week to week, will be different because he's matching the weaknesses of the defense, as opposed to saying, this is my structure, you have to fit it, as opposed to saying, oh, they do this well, we're going to do this well and see if they can beat it.
And I think it is possible for even the receivers that are already on his roster, knowing that there are issues, wondering if this new coaching staff coming in can clean that up, make plays happen a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Guys out there, slants, quick slants, you know what I mean? You watched it, not at the Super Bowl because that was a sleeper. Like, we could talk about that in a minute. But you watched it happen. I mean, in numerous other games where people are getting rid of the ball so quickly, and that just seems to be something that we couldn't do. And I don't want to put that all on just the offensive line. These receivers have to get open as well.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there's a problem.
Yeah.
With
You're 100% right with the offensive line and the quick slants. And Ty was pretty good with that. Zay Flowers, yards was good. And I'll say it here, Mike. I'm really afraid that they're going to target like a 5'9", 200-pound receiver, man. It's not because there's many picks, right? So I think one of them is going to be. I personally like. I like. Man, I forgot his name. It just slipped my mind. The guy from Indiana that I've been talking to you about. Amari Cooper Jr.
Yes.
Amari, not to be confused for the one that was here. I like him a lot. He's 6. I think he's 6 foot 200. He's got speed. Omar. Yeah, they say Steve said it. I like him a lot. But I do also like David Boston from Washington. Do you remember 2 years ago we were watching Washington? Oh, they were playing Ohio State. And I said, I like this Boston guy. I texted it to you. You may not remember. But David Boston, to me, he's 6'4", 220. He's got hands. He can run routes. That's who I would get pick 24.
Oh, that was the year they played Michigan in the championship.
Oh, yeah, it was Michigan. Yeah, that's what it was. You're right.
Yeah. Man. Sam.
Shout out to Sam. Yeah, so that's what I think, Monk. I'm excited. We're gonna get into it more. I got some notes that I've been watching a lot of people break down some Todd Monken tape. Currently on the Georgia Bulldog year, the championship year, and that's what made me think, man, he likes small receivers because who's a receiver that I texted you? What was his name? The white guy that's on the Chargers. Same escapes me. Anyway.
Oh, Brad McConkey.
Yeah, Yeah, he was on there. He's 5'9", 200, soaking wet.
Man,
and then
I wanted to that up with Barry Shuck because Barry Shuck was high on him before he got drafted. So
I was going to bring him up, but for
I
obvious
forgot.
reasons, I didn't want to. But
Yeah, I know the reason.
yeah. So I think Monken, and look at Zay Flowers again, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He loves those small, shifty receivers. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that we target. But my guy right now is Cooper and David Boston. If we get those two receivers out the draft, those two receivers and the rest offensive linemen, I'll be happy.
I just don't want another David Bell. Please, for the love of God, man.
Yeah, that's a possession receiver. We need somebody with speed. We got enough of those.
David Bell had speed, just not
Couldn't catch
the ball. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, James Freight brings up Lemon too. Mekhi Lemon. He's a 5'9", 200-pound guy that you can look to get into.
What happened? Like you watched receivers just dip in height, and then now it's quarterbacks dipping in height.
Yeah.
So now anybody could just play in the NFL, right? I mean, Angel,
Yeah.
How tall are you? You're like 6'.
Actually, I'm as tall as what was that quarterback that he talked about?
Jeez, Babbitt.
Yeah. I'm 10 pounds lighter than him. Same height, 10 pounds lighter. Yeah, sorry, Denzel Boston. My apologies. Thank you, Ethan, for correcting me. From Washington is one of my favorites. He might be pretty good. I think they're going to go offensive line with that first pick. That's why the second pick is going to be receiver. You need to get that offensive line pick.
If the first pick's an wide receiver, I'm fine with that. But you need to make sure in the next 3 or 4 picks you're getting offensive line guys. And I do see where Barry's coming from, where you're going to try to beef up your defense for the next couple of years. But a lot of them are younger guys. I mean, you got a couple of guys on there that it's time to start looking to, change that eventually. But as of right now, I don't know, man. I think we're fine. You got to focus on offense this year.
Yeah, I mean, Barry said it. It'd be interesting to see what they do in free agency too. Maybe they can fill some holes, and then the draft would be more. You can be more focused on what you think they can do. And again, there's always a surprise with Barry, because Carson was a pick that everybody shook their head at, like, what the heck is he drafting a linebacker for? And it turns out to be
boom.
Yeah, and it turns out to be one of the best draft picks that we've had here quite a while, as far as performance wise. Speaking of draft picks, Myles Garrett talked about his quarterback and who he liked at quarterback. He was on with Micah Parsons on the Micah Parsons podcast, and here's what he had to say about Shedeur Sanders.
Speaking of your team, right? 4 quarterbacks, the challenges. Do y'all have the guy? Is Shedeur the guy?
That's what we're looking at as a guy. We're going to give him a shot to prove that he's a guy. So we're not going to give anyone that title until they go out there and earn it. And he was the last person to be on the field, and he showed some flashes. So we're going to give him an opportunity to show what we can really do, uncork the ball.
Yeah, you paying another guy $46 million. Is he going to get a shot?
I feel like everyone on the roster is going to get a shot.
Hold on, that sigh when he said,
he's like,
all right,
and Micah Parsons said, "You're paying the guy." Like, is Miles paying him? Like, Miles was like, "I'm not paying the guy. Like, that's not my decision."
Miles speaking his mind.
He was the last guy on the field, so he's obviously going to get first service. And Deshaun, whoever else on the roster, they're going to get a real look.
So I mean, I felt like he was like talking in circles, because it said he's the guy. Well, we're going to have him first. We're going to have him compete to be the guy. And then, oh, sure, yeah, Watson could be the guy. But at the same time, Sanders started first last year, so he's the guy. So there's a lot of confusion talk. But Miles seems to really like Shedeur Sanders.
The whole a lot of the fan base does. And you're not going to know. You can bring anybody in here, man. You're not going to know with the way this offense stands right now. And hopefully we're going to see a dramatic change this year. Now, remember how I always talked about, getting pumped up for the season, and last maybe year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2 years. I kind of lost that season drive where, like, all right, man, we got some new pieces here. Let's see what that does. You lose it by game 3. You're like, dude, I'm already done with this team, dude. Come on. Like, shouldn't be the way I have to look
I
forward to
got to
things.
do a podcast on this for the
Right.
next 17 weeks.
Right. So that was a bitter, sweet nothing always for the last 2 years, obviously. But
Yeah, Ethan said it best in the chat. He said, think about Junkins with a competent O line. I mean, and not getting hit. I mean, he was getting hit and he still was averaging 2 yards. Imagine when he doesn't get hit or he has space to create his own movement to where he can at least get like you can't get 10 yards per carry. I mean, that's hard to do in the NFL. But I mean, 3 to 4 yards a carry. I mean,
Tony Pollard against the Browns, you can
yeah,
do it.
unless you another reason why you have to ask, what did we do wrong there, Jim? Yeah, Tony Pollard looking like freaking Emmitt Smith on us at home, by the way.
At home.
For 200 yards is crazy.
He says line of scrimmage every play.
Yeah, before we let you go, I do have some good news. We are going on our third. Mike brought this up a week ago. We're going on our third year as a podcast, Mike. 2 years, 10 months ish right now.
Yeah, 2 years, 10 months.
Yeah, we need to do like a 3-year anniversary show and just invite people on and just talk.
Yeah, we'll get yelled at.
Yeah. No, man, it's been 2 years, 10 months and I feel like we've been doing it longer, but it has been 2 years, 10 months.
Well, it's like remember that one podcast that you told me? You're like, dude, the something kitties or whatever for the Panthers, they shut down their podcast because they just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
We're always going to be here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're always gonna talk. If anything, when your team is bad, that's when your content is better. Believe it or not, because people want to soak with you and make fun of your team and hate your team with you as much as you do because of how horrible they are. So it helps. So
and it's funny because our own fan base argues amongst each other as well. So
yeah, and they argue who should be quarterback, who shouldn't be, whether your team sucks, whose fault is it. It's been a fun 2 years, 10 months. We won an award locally here, and we're growing pretty well. So thanks for hitting me up in the DM and saying, hey, come and do something with me. I was like, this dude's a little creepy, but let me see where it's going to go.
Family show.
Family show.
No, it was. I don't know, for all the new people that are out here listening, I actually I started this thing on a whim. My wife's like, go ahead and do it. And I bought a little bit of equipment that now Chad has. And anyways, I messaged Angel because he was making reels of his family making fun of him for being a Browns fan. And no, it was not a leg lamp. And it just meshed. We meshed well, and it worked out. And here we are today, almost 3 years later.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. We're growing, we're learning. I think we're growing even as a podcast. So where, I mean, for me personally, I love now looking at film, watching film, learning draft stuff. I think that's the next avenue for us where we're going to learn to look at scout. Like, I don't want to call it scouting because I don't think we have time to scout because we have families and jobs, but try to do as best as we can as far as who we like as draft and why we like the said person.
Once the weather gets better, I'll be back on normally because when the weather's bad here, my day is bad.
When it snows, I kind of get ready. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty slippery out there. Mike is going to probably run late, and then I mean, it's part of life. And what's good is that in 2 years and 10 months, we've built a team, right? To where you're like, if this person can't go, this person can fill in. And then we have a separate show on Saturday with 4 of you guys. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible actually to think that we did that in 2 years, under 3 years, but bigger and better things. And then let's talk about more achievements. We started Ohio Media. I was going to call them Ohio Media Group, the Land Media Group, which is the umbrella of everything that's going to be under. We got Bearded Browns, we got the Browns Morning Brew, and Let's Go Crunch, right?
Yes.
Local soccer team. You're doing great things with Ethan with that. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, Ethan and Andrew, great guys. They're running a show. I'm just a guy behind the scenes, thankfully. I thought I wasn't going to know a lot about soccer, which is crazy because indoor soccer is just like hockey. So all you Cleveland fans out there, if you guys like hockey, go to a Cleveland Crunch game. It is the exact same thing. Fast-paced, physical football. It is. It is great, guys. Honestly, you'll have a blast. Bring your family down there. It's a very family-oriented event, and it's a great time. Tickets are cheap, you guys, and I think right now they're actually offering if you buy a ticket, you get a ticket free too. So check them out at
And then
theclevelandcrunch.com.
you get to throw popcorn at Mike while he's taking pictures of players.
Yes,
It's a fun time, man. I'm telling you, if you hit a popcorn, Mike will take a picture of you for free.
I've gotten hit a couple times with balls already. That was a blast. My first game, I got hit right in I'm sitting there like this, and I didn't see the ball, and I got hit right in the sternum, dude. It was a perfect shot. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so if you're into soccer, they go live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. They do a great job at breaking down the game. I have to go to a game here soon. I want to go and check it out. But it was a great opportunity to present it itself. Mike was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know either. I know this one guy, maybe Ethan. He knows Ethan can work it out. And it worked out to where like it just worked out. And it's probably one of the better things that happened to us this year is getting the opportunity to do that and seeing how well it's growing.
And there's much more to come as well.
Yeah. So tune in to the Land Media Group where you're just not going to get football, but you're going to get lots more sports over there. It's all in one umbrella. You'll see new faces. You'll see our faces. It's going to be fun. But we couldn't do it without everyone out there supporting us, liking our content, watching it, viewing it, commenting on us commenting on our stuff whenever we're live. So
Our
your
sponsors.
support, our sponsors too. By the way, we got a new sponsor, Mike, didn't we not?
We absolutely did. Rust Belt Automotive and Diesel. They're located over there on East 71st. Give Cindy a call. I have the thing here. I'll pull it up for you guys in a second. But give them a call. They will take care of all your automotive needs. Great people over there. What did I do with that? I'm looking for that now. Awesome. Because I didn't upload it.
It's a new sponsor. Car. If you have a car problems, if you need anything automotive wise, there's hit them up, man. They're family owned, right?
Yes.
Most of our stuff is local and family owned. You got Cleveland Ketchup. You got I was going to call them State Farm again. It's a horrible thing doing that. It's because I'm in current battle right now with them. Doug White from Allstate. You got Lego Heads, all local, and they even I can't remember all. Man, my mind's going blank. But yeah, we have a lot of good.
Yeah, you got them all. We got them all.
Okay, yeah. So I thought I was missing one, but I could be wrong. Ethan says I want Tim Hortons Coffee as a sponsor. That would be great. There it is, Rust Belt Automotive.
That's a joke.
Oh, you do? Okay, well, I mean, Tim Hortons Coffee is pretty good.
Tim Hortons Coffee, man. I drove by two of them today and I laughed. That's a Let's Go Crunch podcast inside joke. Well, not even an inside joke. It was live. We were live. We did it live, and we were playing a Canadian team last week, and Tim Hortons came up several times. But yeah, Rust Belt Automotive. Give them a call, 216-883-0474. Cindy will answer all your automotive needs and take care of you guys. And if you guys actually need a job, if anybody's looking, they're actually looking for a full-time mechanic right now. So go check them out, 4173 East 71st Street in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Tons of great reviews, tons of great people. Can't go wrong.
Oh, last one, Bearded Bastard Barbecue Sauce. I knew I forgot one. Bearded Bastard Barbecue Sauce.
Scroll across the bottom of the screen. No.
Yeah, all our sponsors bottom of the screen. To get, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have nice equipment to sound good on, at least. I mean, we don't look too well, but at least we sound pretty good.
Hey, you ever hear that thing that says we have a face for radio?
Yeah.
I don't have either face or voice, man. I wing it.
We just do it.
It I guess works. People like it. Thank you guys for liking my face and my
So,
voice.
what's on the topic of conversation for Saturday for the Browns Morning Brew? You guys know yet?
I have no clue yet. Hopefully a defensive coordinator.
Yes, that probably will be the news that you guys are definitely be talking about because it should be announced by then. So you guys can tune in 10 a.m. You guys can express your opinion. Matter of fact, go to our website, leave a voicemail, scroll down. It says leave voicemail. You just hit record. You can record it on your phone, just like you're talking to a normal person, and then you get it played on the show. It's a good way to get on the show.
And if you guys want, we have our merch at printful.com/beardedbrowns. You can go there. We got shirts, we got mugs, coffee mugs, cups. We got all kinds of stuff there. Go check us out.
Support the show that way. By that way, you're out wearing our gear. They say, what is that? It's like two guys who don't have a face for TV, don't have a face for radio, but their content's pretty interesting.
We got a face for internet. But
So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Saturday, 10 a.m., Browns Morning Brew, and then Sunday, 7 p.m., Let's Go Crunch. Then you see, then you're back here Tuesday.
Saturday, we might, because the Crunch have another away game, so we might do another live feed of the game. That was actually interesting. It went pretty well. The games aren't super long either, like 2.5 hours. So it's fun. Like I said, it's fast paced. So we got through it. We actually had the announcer for the Cleveland Crunch on that show Sunday. It was fun. I think we might do that again. I will let you know, Angel.
Yeah, that was, I watched a little bit of that. If you want to learn soccer, that's a good time to do it because they kind of talk about soccer, and I'm assuming the rules are different in indoor than regular soccer. So you get to all the lingo. So 7 a.m. We'll share it on our feed. So tune in. Appreciate you guys. There's no football on, so watch this football.
Yeah, we got 3 home games left. We are 1 game out of first place right now. So we need Canada to lose.
Canada.
I said it on the show at the end. I was like, South Park quote, blame Canada. Oh, man.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you. They'll see you Saturday. I'll see you Tuesday. If not, till next time, like always.
Go Browns.